I forgot the most important of all of the tips, which is just to have a lovey cuddle session after you finish the nails all the way around. This allows both you and your dog to enjoy the process even more. Hey everybody, Ethan here with Standing Stone, and this video today will be all about nail trims. You're probably at home struggling with this, trying to stay on top of it with your new dog, and I'm going to tell you it is easier than it seems with most dogs if you follow the tips that we're going to bring forward today. Pride, our model for today, nails are actually in pretty good shape, and this would be tip number 1, which is to stay on top of the trimming. If you are consistent and you stay on this either weekly or bi-weekly, you're going to be able to not only build good behaviors, but keep the nails in a better place. They definitely do need some trim work, but we're going to show you a couple different ways that we work through nails to be able to get the best out of keeping them short, as well as prevent further issues. Let's go to tip number 2. Find a comfortable place to work with your dog. I am using the table here. I prefer to stand up. I've got this. If you've got a workbench, or I wouldn't recommend your kitchen table. It might teach bad habits, but if you have some type of workbench, this is a good way to do it. If you haven't already seen, we've got a lot of other videos that we show how to lay down on the ground with your dog. That probably pop up a little, you'll need the pets. Could probably pop up a little piece here that shows, but basically you could lay on the ground with your dog, or my personal preference is to have them up on the table. Now, tip number 3, I thought about making this video 3 tips to nail trimming, and I think we're going to get through about 20 tips before we get done. There's an underside of the nail that, as especially older dogs' nails grow, it kind of grows together. In this, we're going to look at a couple different pieces, one of which is the undergrowth, basically. And what this does is it essentially creates a shield around the quick. You love the attention. That is my favorite, Pride. But it creates a shield which ultimately is going to allow the quick, and if you don't know what that is, it's the blood supply, essentially, that feeds the nail growth. You don't want to cut into that. That's what everybody's always nervous and afraid of. If you cut into that, it's not only painful, but it will bleed a lot. So you need to be able to break these undergrowth pieces kind of out. You'll see that flakes away. That prevents this additional protection. And you may say, why are we getting rid of the protection? But ultimately, we don't want that quick to continue to grow out with the nail. That allows nails to grow longer and prevents you from actually being able to keep them short. So the whole goal with nail trimming is to keep the nail short enough, expose the end of the quick on a regular basis, which is going to allow normal running and activity to actually wear on that and allow the quick, or force the quick, to recede into the nail, which keeps nails short. Now, the next tip, I would recommend both a nail trimmer and a grinder. Now, when you get a grinder, there are a couple different options. We have 2 different Dremel branded pet models. These are the newest ones that we're trying out. And the thing that I like about it the most is that it is the right speed. It turns on and it turns off. There's no speed adjustments where it feels like when you turn it on, it's either too fast or too slow, or you have to try and find a specific speed. But they come with this basic sander bit that you can replace, and this is what we use for years and years. We started experimenting with a diamond grinding bit, and I bought a specific one online that's more of a professional grade unit. I can't figure out how to get those, and so I thought, well, I'll try something that's more readily available as well as a little less expensive, and we'll see how it holds up. So far, I like that. That's what we're going to be using today. The reason diamond grit over these sandpaper discs is these discs wear out fairly quickly from, a multiple dog home. If you have one, the sanding discs are probably fine. If you have even just 2 or 3 dogs that you're working with, I would maybe look at one of these diamond pet bits. You can buy them on Amazon. Hopefully someday we'll have them at standingstonesupply.com. But These nail trimmers, the specifics on them, they are Safari brand. They are available on our online store. They're small and sharp. So you want to keep your nail trimmers sharp, replace them semi-regularly, not every trim or something like that, but maybe once a year if you have a couple dogs. You need them to stay sharp so that you can actually cut through and make micro adjustments on the amount that you're cutting, as opposed to the dull nails will kind of bend or pull or flex as you're working. Now, let's get into the nail portion. The reason I like this is I'm not bent over. The dog's up here at my eye level, and I can see a little better what's going on. We've now flaked off, like I showed that, all of these up here. That would be my first step. Some dogs aren't going to have that undergrowth, which is optimal if you can stay on top of it, but a lot of older dogs will. You won't see it in puppies, but once they hit that year-plus mark, it'll start to grow in there. So now it's all flaked off underneath here. We're going to go straight into trimming. We trim and grind almost every time that we come into this. So people a lot of times say, oh, my dog has black nails, I don't know where to trim. You are looking for, and you'll be able to see underneath here, it's more of an external thing you're looking for as opposed to, oh, I can see the quick, don't cut past that. It almost gives you an optical illusion, kind of like looking through water, there's distortion, and you will pretty much guaranteed cut the quick, and that's not optimal. It's not only going to bleed everywhere, but it's going to make your dog apprehensive to the process. They're going to say, this is no fun, it hurts. So if your dog's nails are extra long, which you can typically grind the underside of the nail with the flat portion of your trimmers. And when you scrape that a little bit, it helps break up some of the additional underside, but then it will give you a natural catch point. If you stayed on top of your dog's nails, like Pride here, there's really not anything showing there. So we're going to trim off just the end, just the tip, just to show the start of exposure. I'm taking just very small slices in time, and that's the importance of small, sharp nail trimmers. Keep your head out of the way here. I'm going to go ahead and work through these. Yeah, this is a perfect example. You can see on both of these. This would be the pinpoint on the end of the nail. You should do very small, slivery type trims. Once you take these small slivers off the end, until you find that slight color change of the pinpoint, that is basically the quick is starting to be exposed. It is the very, very, very end of that quick, and that's where you want to stop from a trimming standpoint, and you want to move into grinding. So we've done that with all 4 of these. Now, from the table perspective, I would typically turn around here now for 2 reasons. One, I'm right-handed, so we're going to give her a second to get comfortable with this. I'm not going to give to her pulling against me, but I'm also not going to just keep wrenching on her arm. I want her to be relaxed and go into this pretty easily. But because I'm right-handed, when I turn this on, it's going to rotate essentially, what would that direction be? Clockwise when I'm holding it this way. It's rotating clockwise. It's going to allow rotation to happen this way rather than digging into the nail as I go. So it will be a smoother process and it'll be easier on her. So we'll turn the grinder on and we're going to work now around the nail. Think about shaping and smoothing. Any of the women out there, the pedicures, know that leaving a grinder bit on for too long can create heat. The other thing that's nice about the diamond ones is they create less heat than the sanding disc, so this is a better option. But we're going to just lightly shape around the outside. I give to her a little bit when she's pulling on me, but I'm never letting go. And this is going to show her that the pulling doesn't actually get her out of it. This should be a relatively enjoyable process. So here's an example of pretty close to what it's going to look to. You can see the meaty part underneath here versus the nail portion. Is that clear? And that is our ultimate goal. We want to be able to expose this. That is the start of the quick. And we want to be able to expose the end of that without actually causing bleeding. Now, when she runs around and wears and works, that will cause that quick to recede a little bit and keep her nails short like they are. So let's go ahead and work through each of these, doing the same thing. Taking any sharp. Stop it. I get closer here. Oh, yeah. Some dogs like grinding more. Some dogs are more okay with the trimming process. Either way, you should be able to work through all of it. If you're being fair and doing a good job, ultimately your dog and you can learn how to do this well together. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a quick look here. We've got one paw completely finished. We have smooth, no sharp edges on any of these. You can always feel that. And then they are all ground to where there's just a very small amount of the quick exposed. So we would go ahead from here and repeat that with the other front paw. Now, when you look at the back nails, this is where things are a little bit different. You've got slightly different growth here. So more of a farrier type style. We're going to bring this leg backwards. Then I can see, again, the underside, which is exactly what I was looking at in the front. They just grow slightly differently. You can get a little bit of that flaking off in the back. You get those pieces out of the way. Then that's going to, again, help the same thing, keep these back nails short. They don't dig the same. Like with the front, they're kind of digging as they're running. They don't do the same with the back. So they typically grow a little bit longer, and the quicks are a little bit longer. So you got to be, you don't just pick, I'm going to clip this exact same amount off. So I guess tip number, I don't know what number we're on, but you're going to trim each nail what they need to be trimmed, not pick a random, pick a select amount and then trim them all the same. Just like these guards on any of the trimmers that you get, these specific trimmers have a guard too. Do not use the guard as like, oh, we just push to the guard and chop them off. It's a great way to cause problems. So we'll come in here and again, taking small pieces. This is these sharp, small nail trimmers are for. And that's all that I needed to trim, just that very small tip off of there. You can cut corners too. You can do this on the front and it reduces the amount of grinding a little bit. So I cut each corner and then I cut the top at what's I think referred to as the alternate angle or something similar to that. But that one I had to cut less off of. There's my corners and there's that top again. This one needed almost non-existent cut off, and these two outsides need almost nothing cut off. A little bit of flaking there, if we can. Can't quite get this one, so that's something we'll have to watch with her. But then this nail again would be ready for grinding. You can see where my arm is underneath of her belly here, and then I have this pulled to me. It's kind of how I can keep her with me. And same kind of process. We're just going to take, I can slightly take the side of this and grind that underside off too. Just keep in mind, you do not leave this there for an extended period of time. That's how it would feel uncomfortable. So there's one. Main goal here simulate a small amount of the digging, wearing, grinding portion with this, and that's going to naturally help or unnaturally help the quicks recede as well. But you just take any of the sharp edges off so that you have a nice smooth finish on each paw. That's what the front nails look like and the back nails. Again, a grinder, a trimmer. Make sure that you, Pride, come here, babe. You and your dog find a comfortable position to do this in and take your time. Be consistent and you'll all be successful keeping short nails. And finally, the tip of why short nails. This is just going to be, it's safer. Any of the working dogs out there, if their nails are long, there's a greater chance for them to break them. And that can be a several week healing process or worse. It's not an ideal situation. So keep those nails short and your dogs will love you for it. We'll see you on the next one, guys. I'm the guy with the pink gun. This is Pride. Thanks for watching.